What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're going to be taking a look at the Xbox Fullscreen Experience that has launched for a majority of handhelds anyway, and still getting some support on others. But the MSI Claw was one of the first, the AI Plus here, to really get that support. They even had it in preview a few weeks ago, but now it is official, and it's just running on the stable standard channel of Windows. And Xbox announced this during their Xbox preview partnership stream they had the other day on YouTube. Now, unfortunately, one of the devices is the Legion Go devices. The first one and Legion Go 2 have not gotten this update just yet, and I guess Lenovo and Xbox are kind of working to figure that out. It is unfortunate because I do want to check it out on there, but we do have it here on the Claw, and I've been using it on other devices and forced on other devices for a few weeks, and I'm pretty familiar with the Xbox Fullscreen Experience at this point, and I have come to pretty much enjoy it, even though it does still need a good amount of work. Now, over here on our desktop, we are going to check out our updates, and I do have an MSI Center M update that needs to be done that integrates a little bit more with the Xbox Fullscreen Experience and Game Bar, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. We also have our Windows updates. I didn't have anything specific pop up in here for me as far as saying anything about the Xbox Fullscreen Experience, and after I did these couple of updates that did pop up, it was still unavailable when I went to gaming as far as being able to pick that. So I just jumped over to the Windows store here, the Microsoft store, and I had a bunch of updates over here. Now, once I went through and finished all of these updates that were available, even before updating my BIOS or MSI Center M, I then was able to see the gaming full screen experience pop up in settings, which we'll jump over to here in a minute. But there were a lot of updates here, and you can see once all this was done, if I went back over into settings, with just those done, I got the full screen experience pop up here for me. But of course, I also had everything else up to date. I'm on this device almost every day, and I'm always checking for updates, so there may be something different for you there. But we can just activate that by choosing the Xbox app, enter into full screen experience on startup, and I'm going to go ahead and install that MSI Center update that popped up as well, because it does have some integrations as well, and I noticed it fixed some bugginess and quirkiness that I was getting when I was forcing things previously. So I'll restart everything from there, and then it does actually launch us in, because we chose that in our settings, into our Xbox full screen experience here, and MSI Center M is finishing its thing in the background. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump back over to the desktop because I haven't finished setting everything up yet, but you can see MSI Center M has already opened up. And it has kind of a new pop-up here for the full screen experience. This is part of the update, integrating things more into the game bar and into Xbox, and it kind of gives you this little pop-up now until you disable that or don't remind me again there. And with all of that done, I checked for my updates again in MSI Center, and I got a BIOS update here for this. Now, according to the website, this came out about 11 days ago at the time of making this video on November 11th, but it just popped up for me because I typically check for this stuff, and it wasn't showing up for me until I updated MSI Center. So that might just be a me thing, but I went ahead and updated the BIOS as well. So that was an MSI Center M update for me. I did the BIOS update. I had a couple of Windows updates, but nothing that really related the full screen experience there. But again, I am always updated, and then the store had a lot of updates and things changed in settings once I did that. But yeah, with all of that done and updated and the Xbox full screen experience, I would assume now the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus is running as good as it can be until further updates, using this new experience and booting up this way and having all the updates from everyone. And so we've got our Xbox full screen experience up here with Game Pass, our library, which is picking up my Steam games. I don't have a ton of stuff installed on here right now, but it seems to be working fine. We've got our cloud gaming tab here, the Microsoft Store tab, and all of that here. So yeah, it's functioning pretty well. Again, it did feel a bit snappier and better than what I was used to before when I was kind of forcing things on here. And then of course we've got our command center up here, our MSI quick settings in the game bar, our PL1 and our PL2, and things seem to be working really well here, and we're pretty snappy in comparison to some of the lag and stuff I was experiencing before. So maybe some updates and things, some optimization there that definitely felt better than previously here on the Claw. Then of course all of our other settings and stuff available across the game bar here in full screen experience. And if you've seen this on other devices, it'll be pretty familiar. Now there's other things I want to get into and look at as well. Now one thing here is going back and forth between the MSI Center M and the full screen experience here is pretty good. I've had some issues with that in the past, but it seems like some of the lagginess or crashing issues with Center M, at least what I was having, are fixed here, and I'm able to pretty smoothly just go back and forth between the two and not run into any issues, which was nice here. Now, something to remember, if you're on the desktop doing things, like I was just checking out for new drivers and stuff here, as I've mentioned on other devices in the past and other videos, if you do want to go back to the Xbox full screen experience, whether through the app or however you want to do that, and you click that, it is going to give you a warning that you're not going to get all the optimizations that you're getting, whatever all those may or may not be, when you switch back without restarting the PC or the handheld, which has been kind of annoying since the beginning of this whole thing, where we can't just quickly go back and forth and kind of keep the optimizations or do whatever it needs to do there. So hopefully that's something they can figure out in the future, but be aware of that if you're playing around. Now, I use the two buttons on the back for my task viewer or switcher and my Xbox button to make it kind of easy for navigating. So if we go to our Center M and our control mode here and edit that, I go to my M1 and M2 buttons to kind of adjust those. So we click on the M1 here and I've got Xbox button, so it makes it easy for me to bring up the game bar and all the settings, and task viewer on my other one so I can quickly go through and switch apps or close them or whatever the case there. So it makes that kind of easier to deal with there, which would normally just be hold the Xbox button for the task switcher on, say, like the Xbox Ally X, but it doesn't work that way here. So I have the two buttons just doing those two different jobs, which gets me around and able to navigate everything pretty easily with those two back buttons. Now, as far as everything else, you got all your normal settings and stuff here, and your account and your subscriptions and all of that, and your game bar stuff with all your settings, your mic, exit full screen experience, compact mode, power, and all those things here. More settings will get you in your general, your widgets, personalization, and all that type of stuff that you can get into here, light mode, dark mode, Windows themes, and all of that. And on the bottom, if you go all the way down to open Windows settings, they'll literally just open up Windows settings for you, so you don't have to go to desktop to get to those either, which is pretty nice. You can even do all your Windows updates from there, at least some of them. I've seen some issues in full screen mode with some updates. Now, in the widget store, there's something I do want to pay attention to here that I use a lot, and that's going to be One Game Launcher. I suggest using this if you're using the Xbox Full Screen Experience, because it lets you add any shortcut or .exe into here so that you can open it. So you go ahead and install One Game Launcher, and then we'll go over to that in the widgets tabs here. Go down. We'll open One Game Launcher. And then this is going to actually still do what Xbox Full Screen Experience does, where it finds all of your games and stuff, but it finds more. You can add more apps here pretty easily if you want, Internet Explorer, Discord, whatever the case may be. What I've been using it for is to add things like GeForce Now, so I can open that, or more importantly, my overlay that I use for a lot of game testing that I like to use here. So if we go over to the bar on the left hand side here, there's a little plus. We click on that. And this is the area that we can actually add in custom .exe shortcuts to open what we want. So we'll click add here at the top. And then once we do that, we've got the three little dots on the side here. You click that, and it's going to bring up for you to find whatever file you want to add. I'm going to go add my MSI Afterburner that I'm going to need anyway. So we'll navigate to that. I'll find my .exe shortcut here. I'll add that. And then at the bottom, we're going to have to scroll down and actually click add. And once we do that, you'll see it show up here in our One Game Launcher. It just makes it easy to add things in here because this isn't a feature Microsoft has added yet to the Xbox app. It'll be nice if we get that officially, but until then, you're able to add things yourself, open them up, and do whatever you need to do here, which has been really nice for me to use custom overlays or whatever I need to do, game testing or whatever the case may be, and stay in Xbox Full Screen Experience without having to go to the desktop, because obviously, as you saw, you can't go back and forth between the two and keep the optimizations. So the more you can stay in this mode, the better. Now, I haven't had a chance to get in and test a lot of games yet because I've only been doing this for about 24 hours so far since this update for the Claw officially. But I did check out Cyberpunk just to see if I noticed any difference between the desktop mode and the full screen experience mode, because some games you do and some you don't on some of the other devices. I did notice on here, though, at least just for Cyberpunk with matched up settings, I did get a little bit better performance in Cyberpunk in the benchmark and even in game when it came to full screen experience versus desktop. Now, it's negligible and it's not a lot, but you can see things matched up side by side here where we're getting a little bit better performance in the Xbox full screen experience mode here on the left hand side. And when we get to the end, it's only going to be a couple of FPS that it actually averages out to, but it'll be interesting to test and take a look at more games in the future. I would definitely get into a video where we can compare a lot more and see what kind of differences we may or may not see when it comes to desktop versus the Xbox full screen experience here. But for Cyberpunk, I ran the benchmark 3 times in each modes and played some in-game, and it was always consistent with those numbers, 2 to 3 FPS better in Xbox Full Screen Experience mode, and you saw the side-by-side where in some instances it was even better than that. So it was kind of interesting to see that here with Cyberpunk. But that's all I got to take a look at. Again, a future video we can take a look at more games and see if this mode really is doing anything as far as any optimizing, or if it's just kind of hit or miss, or what the case is, because we have seen that in a lot of the forced use on the Go and the Ally X before it was official, that a lot of times there wasn't any real difference. So something to take a look at. But anyways, hopefully this gave you an idea about the Xbox full screen experience here, available officially now on the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. I do like the mode. I think it's pretty useful. I think it does still need a good bit of work, but it's a step in the right direction to try to make Windows more manageable when it comes to having it on these handhelds. So we'll see how it goes in the future. Let me know if you guys are trying this on the Claw or any of the other devices and how it's working out for you. All right, as always, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.